if you look, I'm kind of just reeling it. This is a lot like what I would do with a spinner bait. Now, depending on how I retrieve it, the speed of the retrieve, and the position of my rod tip, I'm going to change the zone of that bait. And what I was talking about and how you can fish it two different ways is I like to buzz it on top, and what that tail is going to do, it's going to make it spit and splash, and then I like to slow it down, lower my rod tip, and then it'll go down a little bit, and you'll actually get more of that vibration. So you've got two different looks on one cast, and that's a trigger for fish. If you think about a bass in the natural environment when he's chasing a bluegill or a perch or a shad or whatever it is, that forage is never going to move at one speed. He's going to get scared, he's going to feel safe, he's going to get scared again, he's going to feel safe, he's injured, he's alive, and there's always that variation of movement. So by changing your rod position, your retrieve speed, by making it spit, by slowing it down, making it spit, slowing it down, you're going to really look natural, and that's going to help you get a trigger bite on those fish. Let's cast it back out again, and let's really look at that tail movement on top of the water. I like to keep that thing spitting. I like to spit it over that cover, and then I'll slow it down. I'll slow it down, and I'll let that thing sink a little bit. And it's that dual movement that's going to trigger those bites. So on every cast, I'm working really hard to make that speed worm or swim worm do two things. Again, when you're fishing this thing, in your mind, imagine it's a spinner bait. Pretend it's a spinner bait or a crankbait, and just kind of keep that retrieve going. And by changing your rod positioning and by changing your reel speed, I'm going to be able to keep that thing doing two different things. I'm on top, I'm spitting, I slow down, I get subsurface. I'm on top, I'm spitting, I'm down below. And that's a supernatural way to trigger those reaction strikes. So basically by changing your rod positioning and changing your retrieve speed, your reel speed, you're going to be able to get that dual movement of that swim worm. So I make my cast, and when I want to keep it up, I'm keeping my rod tip high, and I'm keeping that retrieve speed pretty fast. And the minute I want to slow it down, I'm dropping my rod tip, and I'm slowing that retrieve down. And I go back up real fast, rod position goes back up, and it comes back up on top. So simply by changing your rod angle, high with a faster retrieve, and then lowering it and slowing it down, high with a faster retrieve, low and slowing it down, we're going to get that bait to change positions in the water column just like a natural forage would. You know, as far as seasonality on when to throw this thing, you know, there's 3 seasons where I really consider a swim worm or a speed worm key. And that is the spring, the summer, and the fall. You know, in the winter, in its coldest months, I really like a lot of other baits. But as soon as that water temperature hits about the 50, 55 degree mark is when I start thinking about the swim worm. For sure, without a doubt, its absolute best time is when the fish are in the spawn phase. Whether it's pre-spawn, they just move up on the flats, when they're spawning, when they're actually on the bed spawning. And then the #1 time for me is post-spawn. You know, when those fish are done spawning, the females will come off the beds, they'll slide a little bit off those flats, and they want an easy meal. They want a meal that's easy for them, and this is a perfect silhouette of an easy meal. And the information Bass University provides isn't your basic run-of-the-mill fishing video. This is specific information from A to Z to help you learn, get to the water, and become a better angler quickly.